Hey guys! Today I would like to review the Winsor & Newton Cotman Watercolour Sketchers Pocket Set. So, without further ado, let's get started! First thing about this set is that it is very compact, as the name said, it's a pocket set. And you can take the set with you wherever you go because it's very travel friendly. The palette is in plastic, and when you open it you will find 12 colors and they are all in half pans. Winsor & Newton has many different sets with a different number of colors inside. It is very convenient that you can take off the half pans and actually substitute them with Winsor & Newton Cotman colors or with other half pans. Every pan on the side has the name of the color, so if you need to substitute or buy the color again, you always know which color it is. The lid of the palette is divided in 3 parts and you can mix the color inside it. And also in the palette you will find a little brush that is quite soft and perfect to do especially details, and it is very compact. When you take off the palette from the cardboard that I put here somewhere because I don't have it anymore since I have this palette for 2 years now, you will find also a leaflet. In the leaflet you will find all the 40 colors of the Cotman line. And under each color there is the name and some characteristics. You will find the legend of all the symbols that you will find under each color on the right of the leaflet. And in particular you will find information about the permanency of the color, about the transparency, about the staining property and about the light fastness. As I said, it's 2 years that I'm using this palette, so I quite know how to work with this palette quite well. It was my first watercolor palette that I ever have. But let's see in more details all the swatches of the colors. The first color of the palette is lemon yellow hue. The second color that we'll find is cadmium yellow hue. Then we find a cadmium red pale hue. Then you will find alizarin crimson. Then we will find an ultramarine. Then in the palette is present also an intense blue, a phthalo blue. Then we will find a viridian hue. Next there is a sap green. After that we will find an yellow ochre. Next we have burnt sienna. Then there is a burnt amber. Last but not the least there is Chinese white. When I'm swatching the white I will use also a sakura pen to just draw a little black square to see how opaque the color is. And here all the swatches after they completely dried out on paper. Now I will do a little demo using this palette while I am talking a little bit about the pros and the cons of the palette. This is a student palette, therefore the pigment content of each colors is not the highest. It's not for sure as high as, for example, the professional Winsor & Newton line. Among the cons, also the color selection is more limited than the professional Winsor & Newton line. And please keep also in mind that there are some colors that contain cadmium in this palette, so if you don't want to use colors with heavy metals, just please keep in mind that. I found that the range of color that was chosen for this palette is quite good. I would prefer also to have a darkened color inside the palette, especially for my shadow. And for this reason, actually, I bought black that sometimes I put in the palette when I travel with it. As I said, a big pro for me is that it's completely travel friendly. It is so easy to carry around, and also I quite like the design of the palette, even if it's in plastic. The fact that it comes also with a brush inside is a plus point. Of course, you cannot use this brush for large surface, but just for details or very little surfaces. As you can see, the colors are quite vibrant. There are not a lot of opaque color in the selection, but I like how they perform. I can control them very well, and I have to say that for me it is hands down one of the best palettes for beginners out there. Of course, the palette is also very affordable, so if you just want to try it out the medium, or if you're on budget, this is a good choice. I found that the quality, it is there even if it is quite affordable palette. Every time that I work with this palette, actually I can relax, I can control perfectly the color, and I think that it is very beginner friendly. The color behavior is quite predictable, so after a couple of use you will notice that it is very easy to do almost every work that you have in mind. If you can afford to pay more for a professional set, of course, I would recommend to go for that. But on the other hand, if you are looking for a beginner, budget-friendly palette that you can carry around wherever you go, I really recommend to check this out. It is a good quality for the price, and it is also available almost everywhere in every art shops. And it is also very easy to find the singles colors to just replace the one that you finish, or to put other colors inside the palette that you prefer than the color selection that is already inside. So this is another good point to keep in mind. Many times this set is also on sale, so always check out, especially Amazon and art shops. For example, when I was looking for my first watercolor palette, I found this in art shop in London for £13. And that's it, guys. Please let me know what you think about this palette, if you ever tried it, if you want to buy it. Please, if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe to don't miss any other content. See you next time, moi moi!